Hey everybody, so today I want to talk about left-wing morality and how the left has created its own organized religion. I'm not talking about atheism or agnosticism. I'm talking about something radically different than this. It has its own code of ethics based on egalitarianism, and this is their fundamental morality. They have their own chosen people, and that is the oppressed minorities of women and LGBTQQIK, and also the indigenous peoples of Africa, the Americas, and Oceania, and to a certain extent, the Middle East. And they have their own, wayward people, like the Christianity has the Jews, they have the Muslims. And this is their fundamental beliefs. They also have an original sin story, the inequality. They believe that the inequality brought upon the indigenous people of the Americas and Africa by the white colonialists as sort of their original sin, and they believe this has corrupted the world ever since. And they still believe that there's a white heterosexual Protestant, conspiracy to take over the world and oppress all the gay people. And this is essentially their religion in a nutshell. I would say not all people are fully indoctrinated in their religion, but there's still plenty of people who are. And then let's get right into this. So let's talk about the creation story. So the creation story is basically the indigenous people are pure, they're completely equal, and they're, separate from the dominance hierarchy that was established by the Europeans, and that have their oppressive cultural force that, wiped out the native populations. I think this is not true. I understand that Europeans did a lot of damage, but it had a lot to do with, disease and less about, brutal murder. There's certain examples of this, but it's not as widespread as, thought by these people. And I can acknowledge that colonialism wasn't perfect, but I believe it had net benefit for society as a whole, especially since, Africa didn't have the wheel before the Europeans came. But this is a fundamental part. Karl Marx also talked about these societies as being proto-communist, and this is fundamentally flawed, because all indigenous societies had a dominance hierarchy, and generally it's the same as the vast majority of societies in which there was one strong male in charge. And this has a lot to do with biology and less about society, because they talk about all these things being social constructs. Well, in a sense they are. However, are these social constructs wrong? No, because most social constructs are actually a statement of our biological needs in the environment that surround us, and this is why the social construct developed. And it's not because of some, oppressive nature. This is just how the environment is, because you can also see this not just on humans, but all across the natural world, in which the strong survive and the weak don't. However, humans are different because we have a conscience, we can think, so we actually create morals and value. We create morals and values, and this is essentially what where a lot of our beliefs come from, and it has a lot to do with our environment and less about oppressive social constructs. And they're essentially their pure society is the indigenous society, because it doesn't do damage to nature. It's equal, but it's simply not the case. This is a false. So let's get to the original sin. The original sin, they believe, is essentially created by Protestantism, because Protestants, brought about capitalism in Europe. I mean, I wouldn't say Protestants are completely responsible for the Black Death is probably the sole. They're really the biggest cause of capitalism. Destroyed feudalism in a sense, because feudalism wasn't sustainable with the population loss due to the Black Death. And they believe this as the original sin is when the first stock markets went up, capitalism was spreading over the globe, increasing living standards. They see this as the original sin. Capitalism was created by the white men, and they're responsible for everything. Even if you're not a rich white man, even I, lower middle class, white boy, and a poor rural area, I'm still responsible for the deaths of millions, apparently associated with capitalism. I would say that it has less to do with capitalism and more about governments. And then here comes the Antichrist. Donald Trump is the Church of the Left's newest Antichrist. He's the embodiment of all the values they hate. He's white, he's heterosexual, he's masculine, he's dominant, and they hate this. They absolutely hate this. I may disagree with his policies, but Trump is probably one of the greatest net benefits in our society today, because the Church of the Left absolutely despises him, and all the things that he stands for is things they hate. And I think this is why we need him. I mean, someone has to be the Antichrist for him, and you know what? Donald Trump's the best guy for it. And this is part of what I think we can do to stop the Church of the Left. We need to prove to them that this is not the case, and that capitalism's the way to go. And it's really government intervention that leads to the deaths, because they have the monopoly on force. And this is the fundamental issue with the left, is it's essentially a religion. And it's really hard to beat a religion, and I understand this, that there needs to be some sort of replacement for the Church of the Left. I don't know what that is, but hopefully one day people realize that it's no different than any other religion. So thank you guys for listening today. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys have any criticisms, please leave that in the comments below. I'm on Reddit. I have my own subreddit now, / right-wing ideas. And this would be a free space to talk about, the Church of the Left or any other right-wing ideas you have. So thank you guys for listening today. Have a great day.